Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 64. First, disregarding why this news had traveled so fast, everybody had found out in less than 2 hours, but were all the people on this estate mad? Could it be that they truly believed it? Had these family soldiers and servants performed too many tasks for Yushi, like taking off the wheels of other people's carriages, that they had gone insane as well? Could it be that Yushi had already secretly hired Daoist priests to perform the ceremony? Which was to say, had Yushi believed it just now, too? Does Suiyu actually know or not, that men can't become pregnant? Zhonwan's voice trembled. And does he also know or not, that even if they could, we would need to have sex first? Here, Zhonwan couldn't help but be a bit reluctant to accept the situation. How dare Yushi try to force him to have a child without even contributing anything? I want a child now. Do what you need to and give birth to one. Yushi was probably capable of saying such things. But what abilities did Zhonwan have, as a male, to help him prolong the incense? And alone at that? He had only been flirting. Why did he suddenly have such a responsibility? Outside the window, the family soldier and servant started spouting more and more nonsense. Zhonwan shuddered in fear after hearing their conversation. He was so scared that he avoided the window and sat somewhere else. Meanwhile, inside Imperial Consort Yu's palace, Xianqiang panicked. He stood up and walked around in several circles, then anxiously asked, "Mother, have you made up your mind yet or not?" Imperial Consort Yu's 10 red fingernails dug holes into her handkerchief. Her gaze flickered. I still want to ask your uncle. I already told you that uncle doesn't have the guts." Xianqiang turned around and said in agitation, "If he finds out, this entire plan will go out the window." "Mother, you also notice how much Imperial Father relies on Yushi now. He locks him up with the senior cabinet officials every day to listen to their political discussions. Ever since third brother's death, Imperial Father's health has gotten worse and worse. Imperial Father doesn't have the energy to worry about everything but hasn't given me even the slightest bit of official business to take care of. Isn't it already clear what he means by this?" Xianqiang's expression was dark. Jiangnan's corruption case was originally supposed to fall under the Ministry of Justice's jurisdiction. Who knows what Imperial Father was thinking when he suddenly transferred this case to the Dali Temple? He even sent the inspection division to help, clearly indicating that he's training Yushi. After the corruption case is wrapped up, Jiangnan will basically have been personally filtered through by him. The remaining ones will definitely all be on his side and the ones added in later on will become subordinates that he promoted. How crucial is this? What about uncle, though? All he knows to do is fearfully and respectfully thank the emperor for his grace on Yushi's behalf. He doesn't even dare to say half a sentence in rebuttal. But when he turns around to placate me, he has lots of excuses. He says stuff like don't care too much about this temporary loss. Don't care about it? If I still don't care about it, Yushi's going to be named Crown Prince. With unease, Imperial Consort Yu said, but hasn't the Emperor not taken him back yet? If you force him to head into battle, he's really going to be admitted back into the family. There can never be triumph without sacrifices. Even if I don't give him that last push, Imperial Father will admit him back into the family sooner or later. By then, wouldn't things just be the same? Xianqiang asked in agitation. Mother, how come you can't understand? Imperial Father has already started thinking about taking him back in. He's only missing a reason to do so. I'm using his strength against him. Admit Yushi into the family, then send him to Beijiang. How smooth would that be? Imperial Father will definitely be tempted. As long as Yushi steps foot into the northern borderlands, I can decide his time of death with a mere command, Xianqiang said. The Baidi chief has already promised me that as long as Yushi reaches Beijiang, he'll definitely be able to frame Yushi as a traitor who is working with the enemy. If I can also send him updates about our army's movements, he's also rather confident that he'll be able to kill Yushi on the battlefield. As such, what else would I need to worry about? Who else would I need to worry about? Xianzheng? He'd be the only one left, but how could he be a match for me? Imperial Consort Yu stood up and circled around the room. Her voice trembled as she said, "But I'm still anxious. It's not that easy to touch Yushi." Royal Princess Angguo stands behind him. "Your uncle once said that as long as the Emperor doesn't take Yushi back, he'll forever be an illegitimate bastard with no true power to fight against you. I'm scared that you're returning the tiger to the mountain. How about you think about Xianjing instead? Wouldn't it be nice to get rid of him using this Baidu matter? There's no need to kill a chicken using an ox cleaver." Xian Qian was so agitated that he had grown a ring of blisters around his mouth. "Besides, Xianjing can't die yet. If he dies, I'll be the only target in Yushi's eyes. My circumstances will definitely become more difficult. Imperial Consort Yu has her reservations, but can the words of the Baidu chief be trusted?" "Naturally." Xian Qian's gaze was fierce. The letter the spy sent was handwritten in blood by the Baidu chief. "Currently, his life is hanging by a thread and he can only rely on me to help him." That night, in the side courtyard of Prince Yu's estate, Yushi observed the stranger kneeling on the ground with an amused mien. He smiled. "It's surprising that I'm important enough to cause the Baidu chief, who I've never seen before, to trust me so much. What a true honor." Zhonwan stood in the inner compartment of the room, arms crossed against his chest as he leaned against the wall, quietly listening. Neither he nor Yushi had expected that this Baidu chief would want to marry his daughter to multiple men. Surprisingly, he had come looking for Yushi, as well. The stranger took off his thick scarf and pulled out a letter written in blood from his breast pocket. He walked forward a few steps on his knees and, with tears in his eyes, he respectfully held the letter out to Yushi, expression solemn. Yushi used a handkerchief to cover his nose and mouth. He slightly leaned back in his chair and said, "I get dizzy at the sight of blood. Move this thing further away." The stranger was rendered speechless. In the compartment, Zhonwan forcefully pinched himself in order to prevent himself from laughing out loud. The stranger could only place the letter written in blood back into his breast pocket. He said, "Our chief has admired young Prince Yu for a long time. Many years ago, he already wanted to make friends with young Prince, but unfortunately, the distance between the north and south is great. Thus, his wish couldn't be granted. These days, Chief spends each day in great pain and suffering. During his most difficult times, the first person he thought of was his friend here." Yushi lowered his gaze to hide the ridicule in his eyes. He didn't answer. The stranger continued, "Young Prince, you must have a clear understanding of our chief's situation. Our chief has also more or less heard about young Prince Yu's difficult situation. Our chief is willing to do his best to help you, young Prince Yu, accomplish your noble aspirations. He only hopes that after you reach your goal, you'll still remember that friend far away in the grasslands and lend a slight helping hand." Yushi laughed lightly and asked, "What difficult situation am I in?" The stranger hesitated for a moment. He said, "This." Yushi didn't give him a hard time. He asked again, "How does your chief want to help me?" The stranger immediately relayed the promises given to Xian Qian to Yushi, too. Yushi couldn't help sighing to himself upon hearing these. Zhonwan had actually been mostly accurate in his guesses. The stranger gave Yushi the blueprint of a map of their country. Completely confident, he stated, "As long as young Prince sends Fifth Highness onto the battlefield, our chief will ensure that he never returns." As such, the stranger kowtowed solemnly. "Young Prince will get what you want. Our chief doesn't dare to ask for anything else. He only asks that after young Prince comes into power, young Prince can lend him a bit of military power to aid our chief in regaining that which belongs to him." Yushi gently fiddled with the jade pendant hanging at his waist. He asked, "I'll get what I want." "What do I want?" The stranger had no other options. He did his best to avoid insulting Yushi. Our chief has also heard a few rumors regarding young prince's background before. If those are true, young prince must have experienced the pains of fighting for the throne, too. Thus, you'll be more capable of understanding our chief's current panic and helplessness. Yushi's expression remained calm. You people certainly know a lot. Our chief admires the Central Plains greatly. In the past, he loved listening to the passing merchants tell stories about the Central Plains. Consequently, the stranger lifted his gaze to glance at Yushi, cautiously continuing, learned about a few things. He learned that young prince's name originally should have been written into the jade documents. Young prince should have had an imperial surname and should have. Yushi turned his head to the side. Enough. The stranger was scared of infuriating Yushi. He hurriedly changed the topic, saying, "I won't speak of that anymore. It's just that our chief feels wronged on young prince's behalf and is willing to help young prince clear all the barriers in his way." Young prince. The stranger lifted his head. He stared straight at Yushi, lowly asking, "Have you never hated them before? This nation originally should have been yours. They took away what belonged to you, and instead have now forced you into these circumstances. What logic is this?" said the stranger. "Those of us in the plains have also heard the beautiful yet sorrowful songs about you and the god of literature. Young prince, if not for the fact that those people had cruel hearts and took ruthless measures, if not for the fact that you didn't have enough power in your hands, why would you have separated from your beloved for so many years?" Yushi's expression slightly changed. The stranger took this opportunity to say, "Young prince, as long as you can inherit the throne in the future, there will be no one who can stand between you and your lover again." In the compartment, Zhongyuan thought to himself, "Oh, no. It couldn't be that Yushi was about to be deluded by the Spide tribesmen too, right?" Yushi narrowed his eyes and suddenly asked, "The emperor currently isn't inclined to dispatch the army. How do you people plan to overcome this?" The other noticed that Yushi seemed slightly convinced, so he instantly replied with earnest tone, "We were scared that we wouldn't have the time to get in contact with young prince, so didn't dare to intrude too far in. All we need is young prince's nod of agreement. Then, we'll immediately gather our ranks to invade the borderlands and travel another 100 li south. Many of the young and healthy members of the Central Plains peoples living in Beijiang have already moved south, but there will definitely be elderly, weak, sickly, and disabled individuals left behind. We'll take care of all of them. If your emperor still refuses to dispatch troops, we can travel another 300 li south. Everything depends on young prince's orders." Yushi said, "What happens after Xianqiang heads to Beijiang? If he's greedy for glory and blindly advances?" The stranger answered, "Then we'll dress up the people we've captured from the Central Plains as our own people and order them to fight the enemy. After Fifth Highness sends a battle report to your court, young prince can simply notify your emperor that Fifth Highness wrongfully claimed credit for a victory. In your country, that is a serious crime. Additionally, Fifth Highness wouldn't have known in advance that those people were from the Central Plains. He'd never be able to prove his innocence." Yushi asked again, "And if he's cowardly and refuses to advance?" "That's even simpler. All we'd need to do is continue our southern advances. After hundreds and hundreds of li filled with slaughter, Fifth Highness will be completely blamed for this cowardly mistake of not fighting the enemy. We could also provide young prince with some evidence that proves Fifth Highness had received bribes from us with the goal of refusing to face the enemy head-on." The stranger smiled confidently at Yushi. "Young prince must have an ever greater understanding than us about how serious the crime of colluding with the enemy is." Yushi's pupils shifted. The path to death and path to life have been both blocked. In the compartment, Zhongyuan could tell that Yushi was slightly convinced. He started sweating with agitation. The stranger lowered his voice. Young prince doesn't even need to do anything. You only need to wait for the news that Fifth Highness has died after being stranded in Beijiang. Yushi muttered to himself, as long as I make him head to Beijiang with the army, I'll be able to get rid of him forever. The stranger said, exactly so. Yushi fell silent for a long time. He lifted his gaze. After everything, the Baidi chief only wants a few soldiers. The stranger was ecstatic. He hurriedly said, tone humble, exactly so. We only need a little bit of repayment after you've achieved your goal. If you give our chief a small amount of military power, we'll be your most loyal friends forever. Yushi stood up. He slowly walked over to the window and softly asked, there's something I still can't stop worrying about. Why is the Baidi chief so certain that I'll collaborate with him? A glint of bloodthirst flashed through the stranger's eyes. He viciously said, because our chief said that only those who carry great hatred in their hearts are the ones who can truly achieve great things. These past few years, young prince has experienced all the sufferings of the world. No one knows better than you what it feels like to be betrayed by those closest to you, one after the other. You also know most clearly the helplessness felt after being forced to separate from your lover, to watch your lover suffer daily but not be able to aid him. For many years, young prince has been stabbed in the heart time after time by his family. It's hard for a normal person to imagine what kind of life you've been living. The stranger decided to simply state things outright. It's true that young prince's blood isn't as pure as Fifth Highness, but our chief is right, those with the dirtiest blood running through their veins are more likely to be able to accomplish great. He trailed off, coughing. Yushi retrieved the sword hanging from the wall in one movement, then turned around and stabbed the stranger through the heart. The sword completely passed through the stranger's back. The stranger lowered his head to look at the blade sticking out from his chest in disbelief. He spat out a mouthful of bright red blood. Young prince. Expressionlessly, Yushi pushed the sword further forward, inch by inch. He lowered his voice and repeated, leaving the elderly, frail, women, and children of the border for you to slaughter? Allowing you to invade the southern border? Allowing you to force our citizens into battle with the northern expedition army dressed as Beijiang? Yushi twisted his wrist, allowing the sword to make a complete spin inside the stranger's chest. The stranger released a blood-curdling scream. Yushi let go and turned around to tear open the stranger's robes. He took out the letter written in blood and calmly said, my blood is dirty, but no matter how dirty or disgusting I am, I'm not the type to ignobly side with foreigners. Yushi glanced at the completely dead Baidi tribesman in disgust. Who do you people think you are? In the compartment, Zhonwan sat on the couch, spent. And he completely relaxed. End chapter. Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 65. Zhonwan had yet to fully recover from his serious illness, and as such, he wasn't in good shape mentally and physically. After his moods had gone up and down like rolling waves, he really couldn't stand it anymore. He closed his eyes to rest for a short while. Once he opened his eyes again, Yushi had already entered the compartment. Yushi placed the letter written in blood aside. Noticing Zhonwan's poor complexion, he frowned. Do you feel unwell? No, Zhonwan guessed that his complexion did not look good. He laughed at himself. I scared and surprised myself. Don't laugh at me. In any case, you've studied under Imperial Preceptor Shi for a few years. Yushi's expression was calm. Even if they can't compare to you, they won't go as far as to betray their country. Zhonwan looked down and said in a soft voice, how are you going to handle the matters regarding Beijiang? Yushi did not give him an answer to that. Instead, he asked, can you guess what the chief of the Baidi tribes wants to do? Zhonwan's chest hurt a little. Afraid that Yushi would notice, he didn't dare to massage that area. He pretended to ponder, then secretly adjusted his breathing. After a good while, he said, I think he sent people to find you not only because he wanted an extra layer of protection. Yushi furrowed his brows a shade. Speak. The two of you know his plans. Later on, no matter which one of you goes to Beijiang, that person would be on higher guard against the other. As such, it'd be hard for this plan to be carried out any further. In this case, Zhong looked at Yushi. There are two possibilities. First, you and Xianqian would want to use the fighting in Beijiang as a weapon to kill the other. Both of you would want to make the other party accompany the troops to battle. This way, the two powers in the court would balance the other. On the contrary, both sides would not go out to battle. Thus, the chief of the Baidi tribes would have time to stabilize his position in Beijiang. At that time, after they had stayed in our border and seized enough army provisions and took enough prisoners, he would have the strength to fight his brothers. When that moment comes, the chief would just leave without taking any responsibility, relying on that fact that the court didn't want to go to war. There's an 80% chance the court wouldn't care about the things he had plundered, and let him go. Yushi had listened quietly. He said, what's the second possibility? Naturally, it's to send out the troops, said Zhongwan. However, it probably wouldn't be any of you two. There's a great chance that after you and Xianqian fought openly and maneuvered covertly for a long time, both parties would be in a deadlock. Afterward, the two of you would settle for the next best thing and push Xianjing to accompany the troops. Then that's even more simple. Since the chief of the Baidi tribes would have raised enough military forces, he could cooperate with either you or Xianqian, or both of you, to eliminate Xianjing. This way, the chief would receive a promise from the future emperor. Then he could take back the grasslands by force any time he wanted. The new chief is very clear about the trends in our court. He has grasped onto tightly what the court finds crucial to survival. And he sure knows well that among the three of you, Xianjing's power is the weakest. Therefore, in Zhongwan's gaze existed a bit of jest. He did not send this letter written in blood to Xianjing. Do you think this is likely? After Yushi had heard his words, the corners of his lips rose slightly. He said in a low voice, if Xianjing knew he was being looked down on, he'd grow furious. A light chuckle escaped Zhongwan's lips. Of course, this is only my guess. The only thing the chief of the Baidi tribes probably did not foresee was that you would absolutely not care about him. Yushizi, you have already beheaded the envoy. Now that the second path has already cut off, what are you going to? Yushi did not respond. Zhongwan did not rush him, and waited for him in silence. A good while later, Yushi held back his nausea as he frowned and said, I will request to go on the campaign. Shock collided into Zhongwan. Before he could respond, Yushi said, otherwise, how could I make the emperor recognize me in a legitimate way? Zhongwan deliberated on what kind of tone to use. Really? You're willing to have the emperor recognize you? Yushi said, no. But there's already no other option. Whether it's Xianjing or Xianqian who ascends the throne, they won't let me live. Yushi seemed as if he were talking about someone else's matters, tone relaxed. If I want to survive, then I must seize power. But how? Use this position as an heir to a first-ranked prince. Zhongwan expended a lot of energy to say, I simply feel that you hate the emperor, and don't want things to be smooth for him. That's true, but now I have no choice, said Yushi. I have been willful for so many years. It's not easy to change overnight. Nevertheless, I have to do things that was against my will. Otherwise, how could we keep on living? Yushi only wanted to hear such sappy and cringy words and not say them himself. As such, he said, the emperor is clear on Xianjing's aptitude. From the very start, he had never thought to let him inherit the throne. He also doesn't like that Xianqian relies on Prince Yu too much. These past years, the emperor relied heavily on him yet also guarded heavily against him. He does not want for the imperial authority to fall into Prince Yu's hands after his death. For this reason, he's a bit biased towards me. Naturally, this has nothing to do with my aptitude. However, by chance I am the most suitable person now. Zhongyuan fell silent for a while. What about after he recognizes you as his son? You truly want to accompany the troops and fight in the north? Of course not. Yushi shook his head. The emperor is not in good health. So I can't leave the capital. Then you, Zhongyuan was startled. He shifted his gaze to the letter written in blood on the desk. In a flash, realization hit him. Before you accompany the troops out of the capital, you will present that letter to the emperor. Naturally, the emperor would not allow you to leave. A faint smile appeared on Yushi's lips. Zhongyuan thought of all angles and nodded. It's possible that Xianqiang doesn't know that the chief of the Baidi tribes contacted you. I'm afraid he'd actually assist the emperor in recognizing you. Yushi took a deep breath. If so, then everything will be all right. Yushi rose to his feet. There's no time to waste. I have to enter the palace to pay respects and make the emperor feel that I am sincere in wanting to recognize my ancestors. Zhongyuan knew that he was unwilling and felt pain for him. He asked hesitatingly, how about if I accompany you? All of a sudden, Zhongyuan thought this was possible. He got up and said, let me accompany you. That way, you don't have to say anything. I'll speak for you. I will tell the emperor that for the past many years, you have always thought of him as your father. But many vile characters came between you two, creating misunderstandings between you two. I'll come and I'll beg him. I'll kneel for him. I'll beg him while kneeling. I can even cry as I kneel. In any case, he should already be aware of what I would say. Should know that one of you two must give in. I'll come. I'll come. The more Zhongyuan thought of this, the more fitting he found it. I'll change clothes. Stop playing. Yushi couldn't stop himself from laughing. You'll go speak to him. Zhongyuan nodded. Yep. I don't care about face. But I do. Then Yushi frowned. I had really hoped that you wouldn't know any of this. So how could I let you see this with your own eyes? I definitely will not lower my head to him in your presence. Before Zhongyuan could argue, Yushi said, furthermore, what kind of identity can you use to talk to the emperor? A slave's. As a former successful candidate of the highest imperial service exam? Or, as the principal consort of an heir? For a moment, Zhongyuan fell into a daze. Then his outer ears grew slightly red. He couldn't stop the corners of his lips from tilting up. He tried his best to hide his face, and focused on the proper business first. Trust me. If I'm the one who speaks, it'll be much more effective. Also, I'm used to doing such things. It's true. I can even ingratiate myself properly with a 9th-rank minor official in that frontier. Just because you're used to doing these kinds of things, said Yushi indifferently, isn't a reason I'll accept for you to insult yourself grievously. Zhongyuan stared blankly. Since you've already cut ties with your past now and have entered my family, then you must abide by the rules of my family, said Yushi. I shouldn't waste any more time. I won't stay to chat with you. You ought to think about it clearly whether or not you should use the same methods for handling Xian Rui to handle me. Then Yushi left. Zhongyuan stood in place. For a good while, he did not react. Wasn't he an advisor? The situations that were humiliating, the situations that were unbearable, the situations that others despised. Shouldn't he be the one to handle those? Moreover, said Zhongyuan absent-mindedly. Why did his words sound like I'm a remarried? This was the first time that Zhongyuan's act of monopolizing all the bad things had been refused. He found it very hard to get used to. In a daze, he returned to Yushi's bedroom and felt uneasy for a good while. It had been a long time since someone had cared for him. On the contrary, Zhonwan found it hard to grow accustomed to it. He paced about in the room. After he had finished his evening meal, Yushi still had not returned. He lay on Yushi's bed, tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. After waiting for 1 hour, he heard footsteps outside. Zhonwan draped his outer garment over his shoulders. Indeed, Yushi had returned. Yushi glanced at Zhonwan. He was unhappy as he said, "Didn't the imperial physician say you have to sleep early?" "I woke up after a nap," said Zhonwan, lying with his eyes open. Anxiously he said, "How did it go?" Yushi's expression wasn't very good. He drank a sip of tea. "Not much happened. I didn't speak clearly, but he knew my intention. It was very unexpected. Unavoidably, he lectured me as I knelt and listened." Zhonwan looked Yushi from head to toe, still somewhat in a daze. Then not long from now, Yushi would become an imperial prince. Yushi turned to look at Zhonwan. "What are you thinking about now?" "I think, in the future, you won't be accompanying the troops to battle in the north. How will we deal with the matters of Beijiang? Any method is fine, as long as it stops the chief of the Baidi tribes from getting what he wants." Hatred flashed in Yushi's gaze. "In order to gain power, he lured our army to run a punitive expedition against his own people. There's an 80% chance he's a lunatic." Zhonwan couldn't help but smile. He looked at Yushi with a profound gaze. After thinking about the words he had said, he couldn't stop himself from falling into a daze again. When he had first returned to the capital, Lin Si had told him that young Prince Yu's temperament had changed immensely. Afterwards, Zhonwan and Yushi met a few times in an embarrassing manner. Several times, Yushi had shocked him. Merely 7 years had passed, yet Yushi had actually changed completely, becoming almost a different person. But during this moment, Zhonwan looked at the person he loved who stood before his very eyes. And he couldn't look away. No matter how many sarcastic comments Yushi directed at him, he would not take it to heart, merely feeling a bit sorrowful. They truly had been separated for too long. But no matter how much he changed, Yushi was still the person he yearned for during his youth. Later on, after he had discovered Yushi had been tormented step by step until he turned into his current state, Zhonwan felt that even if Yushi changed to the point of becoming inhumane, it wouldn't be his fault. After all, he had been pushed until that point. However, after some more time had passed, the closer Zhonwan was with him, the more he could sense the Suiyu that was hidden in his adult body. He was still that same subdued him and observed proprieties, still someone who had a lot of benevolent integrity. Despite the hardships of one's life that would bring about destruction to oneself, the crossing of many dangers, even if the course of his life was full of frustrations and dashed hopes that changed him beyond recognition, his high morals remained as it was in his youth. Whether it was outside temptations or the virgin Zhonwan who always accompanied him, Yushi had his own rules and would not do anything that was slightly out of proper conduct. Even if Zhonwan himself really wanted it, to the point where he became pregnant. Speaking of which, when it all came down to it, why hadn't Yushi agreed to deflower him yet? He had gone through much suffering these many years and it hadn't been easy. In the end, how much should he suffer, and how much punishment should he receive before he could be intimate with Yushi? Before he could have the qualifications and fortune to move his tongue, and slip his hand in passing into the collar of Yushi's top? Back then, Zhonwan had just touched him a little, and Yushi had tore his hand away resentfully. Yushi had even called him frivolous then. Zhonwan laughed, half pained and bitter. Once the news of his pregnancy had come out in public, who knew how erotic or romantic those new yellow books in Jiangnan and Jiangbei would be like? Outsiders would just think his life was dazzling and beautiful. However, only those who had experienced it themselves would understand the suffering that existed deep within the harems of the nobility. Yushi noticed that Zhongyuan did not speak for a long time, the latter's expression sorrowful and full of distress at first. Afterward, it grew more loose in values. Yushi couldn't help but grow aghast. "What are you thinking of now?" Zhongyuan muttered to himself, "I'm thinking about when you'd finally fuck me." Shock painted Yushi's face. During a life and death crisis, in the face of getting justice for their home country, this person. "Just a while ago," said Yushi with a lot of effort. "The emperor actually asked about you." Zhongyuan snapped back to his senses, shocked. "What did he ask about?" Yushi ground his teeth. "There's a rumor in the palace that our love moved the heavens. As such, the heavens responded, bestowing me a son. And it's in your belly." End chapter. Those Years in Quest of Honor Mine. Chapter 66. Speaking of this, Yushi's teeth itched with anger. Just now, he had held his nose to pay respects to Emperor Chang'an. As if he had been expecting this, Emperor Chang'an had called 2 senior cabinet officials and a few imperial clan relatives over early on. Yushi no longer superficially went through the actions with a cold countenance like he usually did. Expression solemn, he obediently kowtowed and paid his respects to Emperor Chang'an. Emperor Chang'an intended to test Yushi, thus didn't allow him to get up. In front of everyone else, he made Yushi kneel on the cold stone floor for a whole 30 minutes. He first asked about how things were now that Yushi was listening in on political discussions with the senior cabinet officials. Then, he gave Yushi a proper scolding. After showing off a father's power, he softened his tone and asked Yushi if he felt tired or if he was having a rough time recently. If this were in the past, Yushi would have stood up and left, but this time, he didn't. Though Yushi's expression couldn't be considered respectful, he was still kneeling properly. He also answered all of Emperor Chang'an's useless questions one by one without a sounding perfunctory. This caused those watching to become bewildered. They didn't know why Yushi's personality had suddenly changed. From start to finish, Emperor Chang'an refused to let Yushi get up. In the end, it was an old imperial clan relative who couldn't bear it anymore and jokingly started talking about family gossip. He brought up Zhongyuan. The old imperial clan relative glanced at Yushi in amusement. He asked, "I heard there's a joyous occasion at Prince Yu's estate? Quickly get up, Sui Yu, and tell His Majesty about it." Emperor Chang'an was perplexed. The old eunuch beside him hurriedly scooted close and quietly shared the news that had originated from the cabinet with Emperor Chang'an. For a long time, Emperor Chang'an was speechless. He couldn't tell what Zhongyuan was playing at, so couldn't help looking at Yushi. "Gui Yuan, what is he trying to do?" Yushi's liver hurt from anger as he knelt on the ground. How much time had passed? Rumors were already so detailed. They had even determined the sex of the child already. Yushi cussed Zhongyuan out in his heart and coldly replied, "The servants at the estate were confused. They sent the wrong message." A thought struck Emperor Chang'an. He smiled and said, "So someone else is pregnant? The bed warmer in your room is pregnant." Disgust flashed through Yushi's eyes. A few years ago, because he refused to get married, there had been a period of time when Emperor Chang'an and Royal Princess Angguo had taken turns trying to stuff people into the side courtyard of Prince Yu's estate. Yushi hadn't wanted a single one of these people and had sold them all. Upon realizing that they couldn't stuff anyone in, this pair of siblings then started persuading Yushi to take a few concubines. At worst, he could even take a few bedwarmers. Things had been fine before they had mentioned this. After they brought this topic up, Yushi dismissed all the female servants who were of such age on his estate. He only kept a few old women over the age of 50 and a little girl under the age of 10 who didn't have a home to return to. Even now, when the side courtyard of Prince Yu's estate occasionally needed to receive guests, They could only rely on a 10-year-old little servant to maintain appearances. Emperor Chang'an knew about this too. He asked as if stumped, "Aren't the servants in your estate all quite young?" Yushi felt annoyed in his heart. Nobody's pregnant. Upon hearing this, Emperor Chang'an shook his head. He said, "Then wasn't all this happiness for nothing? How about I pick out a few nice girls for you? You don't like the ones from rich and powerful families, I know. What about some girls from poor families? This way, you'll have someone to serve you every morning and night." Yushi thought to himself, as expected. These people were all like this. If you conceded one step, they would take one step forward. Recently, Emperor Chang'an had given Yushi quite a few benefits. Those benefits had all been marked with price tags. Yushi needed to repay Emperor Chang'an with something of equal value. For example, these days, he needed to do his best to hold himself back from throwing a fit, to pretend to be a normal person. For example, the way he needed to obediently kneel here right now so Emperor Chang'an could show off to everyone else. Yushi understood this game of checks and balances quite well, but he wasn't prepared to concede too much. "Thank you for your concern, Your Majesty, but there's no need." Hatred flashed through Yushi's eyes. "These days, I've just started listening in on political discussions. I don't have the energy to deal with someone in my room." Emperor Chang'an coughed a few times while smiling. "How much energy could this take you? It's nothing more than having a few more people serving you. Don't worry, I know that your rules are strict. I won't force anyone upon you. Go choose a few yourself. Pick ones you like, ones that attract you. No matter who they are, I'll give them to you." Yushi's tone was calm. "I don't like anyone." The smile on Emperor Chang'an's face dimmed a bit. This half a day, Yushi had been quite well behaved. He hadn't expected for Yushi to start being stubborn again after bringing up the matter of taking a concubine. Emperor Chang'an wasn't actually in too much of a rush about this, but since he was testing Yushi and wanted to completely tame him, he couldn't let the other do everything of his own accord anymore. Emperor Chang'an leaned against his cushions. His tone became colder. "We're only talking about taking a concubine now. What about your eventual marriage? If you don't like anyone, you're not going to get married? Suiyu, you're not young anymore. Don't say such childish things again. It doesn't matter that you don't like women, but don't you want a child in the future? Quit fooling around. Go pick some out yourself." Yushi stood his grounds and replied, "No need." Emperor Chang'an fell silent. His tone became colder as he said, "Suiyu, don't forget what you want." Upon hearing this, the corners of Yushi's mouth quirked up. He couldn't help chuckling. Emperor Chang'an was bewildered. What was so funny about this? Yushi lowered his gaze and didn't say anything. What did he want? Right now, he only wanted to live on. To live on with Zhongwan. But if he had somebody else, then had a child with that somebody else, could that still be considered living on with Zhongwan? No. That would be him and his wife living on, in addition to a strange advisor who didn't have an official title. What kind of bullshit life would that be? If this were truly the case, it would be better if he simply died with Zhongwan. They'd be able to reincarnate earlier into a pair of untamed lovers. Emperor Chang'an gazed at Yushi in confusion. He didn't know why the other was suddenly throwing a fit. Hadn't he spoiled Yushi enough in the past few days? Right now, he only wanted him to take a concubine. Was this a big deal? Emperor Chang'an held his anger in. He coughed several times before asking, "Why are you blanking out again?" Yushi didn't explain. They simply weren't the same type of people. Explanations were useless. Emperor Chang'an felt slightly embarrassed, so he wanted to redeem himself. However, he was also worried that he would get an opposite reaction from Yushi if he pushed the other too hard. In his hesitation, an imperial clan relative made a timely interruption. Suiyu is worried about delaying official business. Never mind, then. In my opinion, Emperor simply adores Suiyu too much. If you tell him to choose several at once, he won't be able to handle them all. How about meeting in the middle and only choosing one? Emperor Chang'an reluctantly acquiesced to the imperial clan relative's suggestion. He looked at Yushi. Yushi furrowed his brows. His heart was filled with annoyance that he couldn't resist blaming on Zhongyuan. Things had been fine, but the other had been adamant about mentioning a happy pulse. Now, all these random issues were being dragged into the mess. Yushi knelt on the ground and closed his eyes. He thought to himself, Zhongyuan, you were unjust to me first and forced me into this predicament. Thus, don't blame me for being unrighteous to you. What are you thinking about? You keep blanking out. Zhongyuan, who didn't know the truth, looked at Yushi in confusion. Did the emperor say something unpleasant? Or did you kneel for too long and feel tired now? Yushi more or less felt a bit guilty. He turned his face away so he wasn't looking at Zhongyuan. It's late. Go to sleep. I'm not sleepy though, Zhongyuan said. Is there something troubling you? Tell me. It's nothing. Yushi got up. You sleep. I'll go sleep in the study. Zhongyuan was speechless. What was wrong? A few days ago, Yushi had still stood guard by his bed, not even bothering to undress. Now, Zhongyuan hadn't even completely healed from his illness yet, so why was Yushi suddenly ignoring him? This is, then Zhongyuan dryly stated, you're about to become an imperial prince, so I'm not qualified to sleep next to you anymore. Yushi. With no other option, Yushi said, sleep. I'll stay with you. Zhongyuan laid back in bed. For a long time, he couldn't fall asleep. There was guilt in Yushi's heart. He couldn't fall asleep either. Zhongyuan felt like Yushi's expression hadn't looked right. He was worried in his heart, so he thought over everything again for Yushi. As he thought, he started remembering the plot of the yellow books. Consequently, he became even more sure that he had a hard life. As of now, not even had he not received any actual benefits, but it appeared that Yushi's affections for him were slightly declining because he wasn't as handsome as before. If Yushi ascended the throne and became emperor in the future, he might only allow Zhongyuan to sleep in the imperial kitchens. Well, the imperial kitchens weren't bad. He wouldn't have to worry about food and water, at least. Additionally, if he didn't like someone, he could pee in their food. If Yushi married an empress or imperial consorts in the future, he would stand by the stove every day to pee, ensuring this family of white-eyed wolves would consume his urine with each meal. But Zhongyuan bitterly said, I think the urine of a virgin is also a type of medicine. What a win-win situation for you people. Yushi's back had been facing Zhongyuan. Once he heard this, his eyes shot open. What are you sleep talking about? Nothing, Zhongyuan pitifully said. Yushi-zi, do you know of Shuepingui? Yushi was stupefied. Yushi flipped over. What strange things are you thinking about again? Thinking about how you're ungrateful, Zhongyuan quietly said. Yushi-zi, if I pee in the imperial kitchens in the future, does that mean I won't even get to stay in the imperial kitchens anymore? And then I won't be able to get enough food? You and your harem of wives and concubines will eat in your room, while I'll only be allowed to squat outside the window and eat grass due to extreme hunger. After I eat all the leaves of the bonsai trees, I'll even get scolded. Then, I'll only be able to drink lake water. When the lake freezes over in winter, I won't even have any lake water to drink anymore. Yushi was struck speechless. Then he did his best to calmly ask, did you not have your fill at dinner? Zhongyuan shook his head. I had my fill, but you know how it is with meals. One might not get the next meal after a previous one. Yushi closed his eyes. He didn't want to respond to Zhongwan, but also couldn't help sitting up. What do you actually want to do? Nothing, Zhongwan bitterly said. I just feel like I don't have a good life. Yushi was speechless. You don't have a good life, but I do. Yushi was originally going to scold Zhongwan a bit to get him to quickly go to sleep, but Yushi had wronged Zhongwan in the palace today. Thus, he didn't feel confident enough to throw a fit. He could only hold his anger back and say, there's much to be done tomorrow. I need to go to the cabinet and you need to go see Xianzheng. Hurry and sleep. Zhongwan's eyes were bright. I suddenly have a lot of thoughts in my head, so I can't fall asleep. Yushi squeezed out from between his teeth, can you truly not fall asleep, or do you just want me to touch you? Zhongwan closed his eyes and laughed. The imperial doctor said that you've fallen ill consecutively and that you've practically spent all your energy. I can't be intimate with you. Yushi's body was pulled taut. He softly said, if you can't fall asleep, simply recite the heart-cleansing mantra or the annals of the house of Chenxi, anything. Recite it many times and you'll be able to fall asleep. Pitifully, Zhongwan truly started reciting the Heart Sutra. He was very confident. And his voice was very loud. Yushi. Yushi didn't even have a temper anymore because of this torment. It's the middle of the night. Are you trying to keep the entire estate awake? Yushi couldn't bear it anymore. He flung open the blanket and flipped over, then covered Zhongwan's mouth with his own. The soldier bought a fish back to cook. In the belly of the fish, we can kiss a bit. Then, let's go to sleep. Yushi slightly lifted his head. He looked down at Zhongwan. His voice was very soft. All right. Yushi's breath brushed against Zhongwan's face. Zhongwan felt like his bones had gone soft. He instantly started behaving. After a moment of hesitation, he quietly asked first, then can I move around? Yushi paused. Yes. Zhongwan lifted his chin and planted a kiss on Yushi's lips. The next day, when Zhongwan got out of bed, Yushi had already left. While eating breakfast, Zhongwan saw Steward Feng return from outside. The other's expression looked extremely relieved. Zhongwan asked, what's wrong? Nothing. Steward Feng walked forward to pour Zhongwan a cup of tea. I just heard about how the emperor was planning on giving Yushizi a concubine yesterday. It gave me a scare. Zhongwan froze for a moment. He swallowed the porridge in his mouth. He's going to take a concubine. That's right, Steward Feng said. He was originally going to. But. Steward Feng scanned Zhongwan up and down. He said, but Yushizi told the emperor that you, young master, get easily jealous and that you're very clingy. If Yushizi even takes an extra glance at anyone else, you're capable of crying all night. Additionally, why you have a dark heart and are prone to evil methods. The emperor worried that you would go blind from crying and was also scared that you would kill someone and didn't bring up this matter anymore. End chapter.